Hello, chosen one. The darkness has been pressing hard this week because it sees what you can't see yet, the door that's about to open. If you have been feeling an unprecedented, almost suffocating atmospheric pressure in your daily life over the last several days, I need you to listen to me with absolute, unwavering focus. You have likely experienced sudden, unprovoked waves of sheer exhaustion, a bizarre sense of isolation that feels unnaturally heavy, and a sudden, sharp spike in erratic, aggressive, or deeply passive-aggressive behavior from the people in your immediate periphery. You have been sitting in your room, looking at the ceiling, rewinding the tapes of your interactions, trying to find the exact moment you failed. You are scrutinizing your own character, wondering what flaw you exhibited that invited this level of unprovoked hostility and friction. I am here to completely shatter that illusion for you right now. You are looking at this spiritual warfare entirely backwards. The attack you are enduring right now is not the universe's way of telling you that you are out of alignment, and it is certainly not a symptom of your regression. The intense, targeted friction you are feeling is the absolute, irrefutable evidence of your breakthrough. The enemy, the unseen forces of stagnation, and the highly toxic, performative individuals operating under those frequencies are not attacking you because you have done something wrong. They are launching an all-out, desperate, coordinated offensive precisely because of the massive, undeniable magnitude of what is coming toward you right now, today, this very week. They are terrified of the monumental shift that is about to manifest in your physical reality. They can sense the anointing of your promotion before you can even see it, and their current meltdown is nothing more than the frantic, uncoordinated thrashing of a dying cycle. This relentless pressure is the ultimate proof that the old timeline is collapsing and your new reality is solidifying. The attacks are not a punishment, they are a confirmation. I am declaring to you right now that the struggle you are currently enduring is ending, and it is ending rapidly. In fact, by the time this message fully integrates into your spirit within the next 24 hours, the energetic scales will permanently tip in your favor. This cycle of psychological warfare and spiritual resistance is concluding precisely because of the grueling, unseen internal architecture you have built in the dark. When nobody was cheering for you, when you were completely isolated, you did the heavy lifting. You purified your vessel, you faced your own shadows, and the universe is responding by aggressively clearing your path of everything that cannot survive at your new altitude. I'm Brian. For decades, I've been writing spiritual content and helping people to achieve real awakening, peeling back the thick layers of societal illusion to expose the raw, uncomfortable, and unapologetic truths of human psychology and spiritual warfare. I do not deal in cheap self-help jargon or toxic positivity, because the battles you are fighting cannot be won with shallow mantras. Right now, individuals in your life are actively exposing themselves, revealing their hidden animosity, their deep-seated envy, and their pathetic attempts to mimic your light, because your sheer authenticity is forcing their repressed shadows into the open air. Karma is currently setting the stage, and the universe is preparing to vindicate you publicly without you having to lift a single finger in your own defense. If you are ready to completely dismantle the illusions of the people secretly competing with you, and if you are ready to understand the profound mechanics of what is happening behind the scenes, I need you to subscribe to the channel right now. Hit the like button to align your energy with this truth, drop a comment with what point hit you hardest, and share this message with another warrior who is walking this same lonely path. Step 1. Dismantle the pedestal you built for their potential. To truly comprehend the massive, unprecedented spiritual acceleration happening in your life right now, you must begin by undertaking a brutal internal audit of where your empathy has been dangerously misallocated. The first and most critical action you must take is to completely dismantle the pedestal you have unknowingly built for the imagined potential of those trying to secretly compete with you. As a chosen one, your greatest spiritual asset is your profound capacity for grace, your deep intuition and your ability to see the divine spark in everyone. But untempered grace, when blindly applied to individuals who have absolutely no desire to heal, mutates into devastating self-sabotage. For years you have looked at broken, highly performative, and profoundly toxic individuals and chosen to see the magnificent being buried beneath their trauma. You actively ignored the continuous malice they hurled in your direction because you were falling in love with the avatar of their highest potential, a potential that exists solely and exclusively in your own mind. You became their unpaid public relations manager, making endless excuses for their abysmal behavior, translating their cruelty as unhealed trauma, and pouring your premium, high-octane life force into their rusted, leaking engine. You must understand that continuing to carry this illusion is an act of spiritual defiance against your own calling. You are holding up a massive monument to someone who does not exist, and the sheer exhausting weight of that artificial structure is keeping you anchored to a low-frequency timeline you were meant to outgrow months ago. The contrast between your authentic alignment and their performative facade has never been more glaring, more obvious, or more deeply tragic than it is right now. You operate from a place of deep, profound, internal architecture. When you move from the soul. Your life is built on a solid, unbreakable bedrock constructed in the dark, through quiet tears, through extreme isolation, through profound ego deaths, and through a relentless, uncompromising commitment to authenticity. You do not need to announce your arrival or demand respect, because your organic energy naturally alters the atmospheric pressure of any room you step into. The imitator, the hidden hater, operates on the exact opposite polarity. Their entire existence is a flimsy, desperately curated performance piece constructed entirely out of external validation, borrowed aesthetics, stolen sound bites, and a frantic, agonizing need to be perceived as powerful. They do not possess a self. They possess a script. Their entire identity is a highly reactive construct, continuously shifting and molding based on whatever audience they are desperately trying to manipulate on any given day. You are a mountain of undeniable, sovereign reality, while they are a hollow, transparent reflection entirely dependent on the light of others to even cast a shadow. This stark contrast leads us directly into the deep, agonizing psychology of why they are currently melting down and frantically trying to attack your reputation behind closed doors. They are experiencing a massive, catastrophic, narcissistic collapse. They built their entire sense of superiority around the absolute delusion that they were somehow outsmarting you, outshining you, or successfully dimming your brilliant light. They relied heavily on your constant forgiveness and your willingness to play the quiet, supporting character in their grand theatrical production. But as you have awakened to your divine calling, you naturally stopped feeding their illusion. You stopped reciting the predictable lines they wrote for you. When you pull your authentic energy away from a highly performative person, you do not just inconvenience them, you plunge them into a terrifying, suffocating existential crisis. They rely exclusively on your light to illuminate their dark stage. Without you, they are left standing in the pitch black, reciting their hollow lines to an empty, echoing room. They are terrified of your light because your mere existence serves as a devastating high-definition mirror, reflecting back to them the profound emptiness of their own internal world. They lie awake at night, obsessing over your unshakable peace, utterly confused and violently furious as to why their constant attempts to destroy you only seem to make you stronger. Their frantic behavior, The sudden passive-aggressive remarks, the orchestrated attempts to incite drama, these are not signs of their power. These are the desperate, flailing, pathetic maneuvers of an actor who suddenly realizes the entire audience has walked out in disgust. When you step back and observe their chaotic behavior objectively, the sheer absurdity of their competition becomes almost comical. It is profoundly, undeniably goofy. They are genuinely trying to compete with a divine calling using parlor tricks. They are frantically attempting to catch raw lightning in a cheap plastic cup, observing the brilliant flash of your anointing and arrogantly believing they can contain it within their synthetic, mass-produced identity. The exact moment they try to harness your frequency, the plastic cup melts, combusts, and leaves them with nothing but burned hands and the acrid, lingering stench of their own desperation. It is the psychological equivalent of watching someone meticulously try to build a magnificent, soaring cathedral out of two-dimensional cardboard cutouts, using photocopied blueprints they stole from your desk, entirely oblivious to the absolute fact that they are building on a foundation of sand and rot. Every single time they mimic you, every time they aggressively try to position themselves above you, they look utterly ridiculous to anyone with actual spiritual discernment. Their entire covert operation is a tragic comedy, an embarrassing, highly visible display of spiritual bankruptcy. By entirely, unapologetically dismantling the pedestal you built for them, you withdraw your energetic endorsement of their potential. You stop feeding their illusion with your attention and actively force them to inhabit the miserable, cramped reality of their actual choices. You leave them arguing with themselves on a rapidly collapsing stage, fully exposing their madness to anyone passing by, while you walk away completely unbothered. Step 2. Sever the energetic umbilical cord of your own misplaced guilt. Once you have systematically dismantled the pedestal, you must immediately confront the internal mechanism that keeps you tethered to their dysfunction, which requires you to violently sever the energetic umbilical cord of your own misplaced guilt. As karma actively steps in to clear the stage and publicly expose your enemies, you must relinquish the one emotional vulnerability that is currently delaying your inevitable promotion: your own deeply ingrained sense of responsibility for their emotional regulation. As a chosen one, you possess a profound, innate understanding of the interconnectedness of all things, and you instinctively desire to heal, uplift, and protect those around you. You look at the suffering of others and feel an overwhelming compulsion to absorb it, to carry it, and to transmute it into light. But toxic, highly insecure people recognize this beautiful trait early on and intentionally weaponize your goodness against you. They quickly realize they cannot match your spiritual velocity or your authentic output, so they utilize the only tool available to them in their limited emotional arsenal: manufactured guilt. They subtly train you to feel deeply responsible for their continuous stagnation. They engineer scenarios to make you believe that if you outshine them, if you achieve your monumental goals, or if you find profound, unshakable peace, you are somehow betraying them, leaving them behind, or causing them pain. They transform your divine gifts into a heavy, suffocating burden, teaching you to dim your own radiant light simply so their unadjusted, sensitive eyes won't hurt. The contrast between your psychological baseline and theirs is breathtaking to analyze. You have an intrinsic, soul-deep need for profound peace, objective truth, and authentic human connection. You constantly seek resolution and harmony. They, however, have a pathological, insatiable need for conflict, control, and perpetual victimhood. They do not accidentally misunderstand you. They intentionally and strategically misinterpret you, because the misinterpretation is the only vehicle that allows them to maintain the role of the righteous judge or the injured party. When you attempt to explain your heart, justify your actions, or defend your boundaries to them, You are essentially feeding gourmet 5-star meals to a starving, insatiable ghost. It will consume all the vital energy, all the sound logic, and all the deep empathy you have to offer, and it will remain just as hollow, just as hungry, and just as hostile as it was before. You operate from a pure desire to build and contribute, while they operate from a dark compulsion to extract and consume. You are constantly building bridges, while they are secretly planting explosives under every single pillar, hoping you will fall into the raging river below so they can stand on the shore and pretend to mourn your loss. The psychological mechanics of this specific manipulation are deeply insidious and rooted in the total outsourcing of emotional labor. By aggressively projecting their own massive insecurities onto you, they forcefully recruit you to carry the crushing weight of their unhealed trauma. When they feel small and insignificant, they engineer dramatic situations specifically to make you feel bad about being big and impactful. When they feel uninspired and spiritually stagnant, they manufacture a chaotic crisis to drain your inspiration, thereby temporarily leveling the playing field so they do not have to look up at you. You must understand with absolute, unflinching clarity that continuing to carry this manufactured guilt is an act of direct spiritual defiance against your own higher calling. Every single time you apologize for your organic growth, every time you downplay your massive success to make an imitator feel comfortable, you are effectively telling the divine creator that you reject the extraordinary blessings you have been given. You are holding a massive reinforced umbrella over someone who is actively, maliciously trying to set you on fire, simply because you feel guilty that they might get a little bit wet from the rain. Their absolute panic right now is directly tied to the terrifying realization that you have finally stopped apologizing for your existence. To sever this cord requires a brutal, unflinching honesty with yourself, an honesty that might feel temporarily agonizing, but is ultimately entirely liberating. You must unconditionally accept the cold, hard reality that you absolutely cannot heal someone who is actively using their sickness as a weapon to control you. Their lack of progress is their own deliberate choice. Their overwhelming bitterness, their raging jealousy, and their spiritual decay are the natural, unavoidable harvest of the toxic seeds they have consistently sown over the years. By permanently severing the guilt, you are not acting with malice, cruelty, or coldness. You are acting with profound, necessary spiritual boundary setting. You are actively starving a parasite that has successfully disguised itself as a vital organ for far too long. The very moment you release this guilt, you remove the thick, energetic shield that has been illegally protecting them from the massive consequences of their own actions. You simply step out of the way, leaving them completely, terrifyingly exposed to the universal, unforgiving laws of cause and effect. Your misplaced empathy and your chronic guilt were the absolute only things standing between them and their impending karma. You were functioning as their energetic human shield, voluntarily absorbing the bullets meant for their spiritual debt. Let it go. Stop carrying the weight of their refusal to evolve. It is spectacularly goofy to think you can pay the spiritual debts of someone who continues to steal from your account while cursing your name. The universe operates on precision and exactitude, and your interference has only prolonged their inevitable crash. Drop the heavy bag of rocks they handed you, stand up completely straight, and watch how breathtakingly quickly the universe moves in to violently balance the scales the moment you stop interfering with the process. The umbilical cord of guilt is the only lifeline they have left, and the exact second you cut it, they are instantly cast adrift in the turbulent ocean of their own karmic retribution. Step 3. Witness the desperate, goofy mimicry of the uninspired. One of the most bizarre, unnerving, and profoundly violating phenomena you will experience as a chosen one moving into a season of massive elevation is the sudden, jarring realization that the very people who loudly criticize you are simultaneously trying to become you. You must train your mind to witness the desperate, goofy mimicry of the uninspired without taking it as a personal attack on your fundamental identity. You will notice them suddenly adopting your highly specific vocabulary. You will see them mirroring your unique aesthetic, hijacking your creative ideas, and attempting to exactly replicate your projects, routines, and mannerisms, often arrogantly parading these stolen fragments to the public as their own brilliant original epiphanies. This extreme cognitive dissonance can be absolutely maddening to witness at first. It feels like an invasion of your spiritual property, a blatant plagiarism of your soul. But you must force yourself to observe this erratic behavior strictly through the cold, analytical lens of psychology, rather than taking it as an emotional violation. Why does the hater invariably become the obsessive imitator? Because they are suffering from a catastrophic terminal deficit of spiritual inspiration. They have entirely severed their own connection to the divine source through years of prioritizing their fragile ego, engaging in endless manipulation, and seeking superficial, low-frequency validation. They are entirely spiritually bankrupt. Their internal well is bone dry, and they absolutely know it. The contrast between your authentic creation and their frantic duplication is the difference between a naturally occurring, infinite flowing spring and a stagnant, evaporating puddle of mud. When they look at you, they see a continuous, effortless flow of creativity, profound insight, and undeniable power. Because they completely lack the internal, highly disciplined machinery required to access this divine source themselves, they attempt to bypass the grueling spiritual work by simply stealing the external, visible manifestations of your alignment. They deeply want the glory of the destination without enduring the agony of the journey. Your original divine download is uniquely calibrated to your specific energetic signature. It is entirely unrepeatable. Their cheap, stolen aesthetic is nothing more than a superficial coat of paint over rotting, termite-infested wood. They genuinely, foolishly believe that the magic resides in the specific words you say, the exact clothes you wear, the exact aesthetic of your home, or the mechanical actions you take. They are entirely oblivious to the absolute fact that your true power comes from the invisible, unshakable alignment between your eternal soul and the divine creator. The psychology of this deep imitation is rooted in a severe, chronic void within their own fundamental identity. They do not just want what you possess. They fundamentally, pathologically want to be you. They vehemently despise you because every single time they look at you, they are brutally reminded of their own profound emptiness. Their hatred is just mutated, highly malignant admiration. They study you obsessively, dissecting your movements, stalking your digital footprint, and trying to wear your skin, desperately hoping that if they look exactly like the chosen one, the universe will accidentally deposit your assigned blessings into their fraudulent account. But the spiritual realm operates with an infallible biometric lock. Every time they post a stolen thought, every time they try to replicate your magic, they experience a brief, fleeting, synthetic high of external validation, immediately followed by a crushing, depressive crash. Because in the quiet, lonely hours of the night, when the applause fades, the likes stop coming in, and the audience looks away, they are left entirely alone with the horrifying, suffocating knowledge that they are an absolute counterfeit. They know that without you acting as their unwitting template, they do not even exist. It is profoundly, hilariously goofy when you truly break down the mechanics of what they are attempting to do. They are pantomiming a grand symphony without any instruments, sweating profusely, looking around wildly, begging the audience to tell them that they hear the music. They are furiously building a house using photocopied blueprints they stole from your desk, entirely convinced they are master architects, completely unaware that they are building their structure on a foundational sinkhole. Every single time they mimic you, they violently degrade their own frequency. A copy of a copy becomes progressively more distorted, pixelated, and entirely unreadable. You are witnessing the frantic thrashing of an entity that has realized it cannot generate its own heat, so it tries to rub two stolen sticks together in the pouring rain. They genuinely think they are fooling the crowd, but the vibration of truth cannot be faked. Even the most unobservant people eventually begin to feel the jarring, uncomfortable dissonance between the profound words the imitator is saying and the entirely dead, hollow frequency they are broadcasting. You absolutely do not need to fiercely defend your originality, watermark your soul, or publicly call out their pathetic theft. Their relentless mimicry is the loudest, most humiliating confession of their own extreme inadequacy. It is an involuntary, highly public admission that your authentic self is vastly, undeniably superior to their fabricated persona. When you witness this bizarre behavior, do not feel violated or threatened. Feel a deep, analytical, almost clinical detachment. Watch them eagerly put on your oversized spiritual garments and stumble awkwardly over the hem. They look absolutely ridiculous to anyone with actual spiritual discernment. The more they try to replicate your external output without cultivating your internal depth, the more fraudulent, hollow, and exposed they appear to the watching world. Their desperate mimicry is the exact mechanism karma is using to expose their complete lack of substance. The universe will inevitably place them in a situation where they are required to actually wield the power they are pretending to have, and because they only stole the costume and not the calling, they will spectacularly, publicly fail in front of everyone. Step 4. Detach from the optical illusion of their manufactured authority. As karma tightens its invisible grip and their internal panic reaches a boiling point, the deeply insecure individuals targeting you will instinctively retreat to the absolute only defensive position they know how to play: positional power and social manipulation. You must learn to fiercely detach from the optical illusion of their manufactured authority. This desperate tactic often manifests as aggressive gatekeeping, intense condescension, or the cowardly orchestration of whisper campaigns and smear tactics entirely behind your back. They will heavily rely on their corporate tenure, their carefully cultivated social networks, their financial status, or their institutional titles to create a massive, intimidating optical illusion of superiority. They absolutely need to construct a strict, rigid hierarchy where they are placed safely above you because they know, in the terrifying, deafening silence of their own minds, that in a flat, equal space of genuine spiritual authority, they cannot even hold a candle to your presence. True spiritual authority is never demanded, it is never forced, and it never has to constantly announce itself. It is simply recognized. It naturally emanates from a person's core, creating an undeniable, heavy gravity that naturally draws people in and commands deep respect without uttering a single threat. You naturally carry this exact gravity. Because they completely lack this intrinsic divine weight, they must resort to the dark, exhausting art of triangulation. They will frantically recruit flying monkeys, weak-minded, highly easily manipulated individuals who eagerly trade their own integrity for proximity to perceived power, to loudly parrot their false narratives and artificially validate their fake, plastic crown. They will attempt to systematically isolate you, spreading subtle distortions, half-truths, and blatant lies to ensure that others view you strictly through the heavily contaminated lens of their own blistering jealousy. You must deeply understand the profound psychological fragility and the sheer exhausting terror required to engineer a smear campaign. Think about it analytically. A person who is truly secure in their path, a person who is actually blessed, whole and thriving, absolutely does not spend their precious limited life force actively trying to destroy the reputation of another human being. The smear campaign is a massive neon billboard advertising their own internal torment and their absolute obsession with you. The contrast between your sovereign independence and their desperate codependency on external validation is striking. You exist completely fine in isolation. You do not need an audience to confirm your reality. They, however, are a flimsy paper king desperately ruling over a pathetic kingdom of cardboard cutouts, standing directly in the path of a gathering hurricane. They genuinely believe that if they can just get enough ignorant people to agree with their delusion, the delusion will magically transform into reality. But truth is not a democracy. It absolutely does not require a majority consensus, a vote, or a committee's approval to exist. They are desperately trying to assert dominance over you because your independence completely terrifies them. If they cannot control how you feel about yourself, they will rapidly shift gears and obsessively try to control how other people feel about you. This is not the behavior of a powerful person. This is the erratic, fearful scrambling of a cornered animal realizing that its cage is shrinking. You must rigorously, violently detach from the illusion of their authority. It is incredibly goofy to watch someone meticulously build a tiny kingdom in a sandbox and then furiously demand that you bow to them as royalty. Do not argue with their pathetic flying monkeys. Do not attempt to logically present a counter case to people who are deeply, emotionally committed to misunderstanding you. The exact moment you step into the rigged courtroom they have designed, you legitimize their fake authority. You voluntarily hand them the gavel and step onto the witness stand in a trial where they are the judge, jury, and executioner. Instead, realize that their absolute reliance on external validation, constant social maneuvering, and petty gossip is their fatal, structural flaw. Their power only exists as long as you agree to believe in it. The second you withdraw your fear and your participation, their authority completely evaporates. When karma arrives, it does not respect institutional titles, it does not care about social cliques, and it is entirely unintimidated by how many followers they have amassed. Karma systematically dismantles the very foundation of the lie, and when the foundation inevitably crumbles, the very audience they actively recruited to mock you, the flying monkeys they trained to attack you, will become the exact front-row audience that witnesses their spectacular, humiliating, undeniable collapse. Your absolute detachment deprives them of the one vital element they need to sustain the optical illusion, your belief in it. Starve their manufactured authority by simply refusing to acknowledge that it exists, and watch as their imaginary kingdom is effortlessly blown away by the wind of your authentic momentum. Step 5. Embrace the absolute silence that starves their chaos. In the face of intense provocation, bizarre mimicry, and subtle, cowardly sabotage, your human ego will inevitably scream for immediate justice. Your immediate visceral instinct will be to confront them directly, to aggressively lay out the irrefutable evidence of their toxicity, to write the long, scathing paragraph, to demand a public apology, or to expose them yourself. You must resist this urge with every fiber of your being, and instead master the absolute, unyielding, terrifying discipline of silence. You must embrace the absolute silence that starves their chaos. Silence is absolutely not weakness, it is not submission, and it is not a sign of defeat. Silence is the most lethal, devastating weapon in the massive arsenal of a true chosen one. You must deeply understand the emotional metabolism of a toxic, highly performative individual. They do not feed on positive energy or negative energy specifically. They feed entirely on reaction. To them, a reaction, any reaction whatsoever, whether it is tears, rage, defense, or frantic explanation, is concrete proof that they exist, proof that they have a tangible impact, and proof that they hold actual power over your emotional state. When they drop a calculated passive-aggressive comment, when they intentionally attempt to trigger an old painful wound, or when they brazenly lie about you to others, they are casting a dark fishing line into your energetic waters. If you bite, if you get angry, if you fiercely defend yourself, you voluntarily provide them with the vital, high-frequency life force they desperately need to continue their psychotic game. You inadvertently validate their false narrative that you are the unstable one, the difficult one, the one who requires managing. When you deploy absolute, impenetrable, deafening silence, you aggressively and violently disrupt their entire psychological ecosystem. The contrast between your stillness and their erratic movement becomes glaringly obvious. You become a massive, terrifying, energetic black hole to their dysfunction. You are essentially throwing their poison right back down their throat by simply refusing to swallow it. You are denying them the energetic friction they require to survive. Imagine a deeply insecure, profoundly unhealed person violently throwing heavy, jagged stones into what they arrogantly believe is a shallow pond, hoping to violently splash mud all over you. But you are not a shallow pond. You are a vast, bottomless, ancient ocean. They throw the stone with all their might, and it simply sinks into the dark, silent depths, producing absolutely no splash, no ripple, no sound, and no satisfying impact whatsoever. The psychological withdrawal they experience when utterly deprived of your reaction is profound, agonizing, and entirely panic-inducing. Because you refuse to act as the emotional dumping ground for their toxicity, they are left entirely alone in a quiet room with the deafening, horrific echoes of their own internal chaos. Because their negativity has absolutely nowhere to land, it violently bounces off your impenetrable silence and ricochets directly back into their own psyche. This is exactly where they begin to actively drown in their own unprocessed shame. They will inevitably escalate. They will try much, much harder to provoke you. They will perform more aggressively, throw louder, more dramatic public tantrums, and tell even more outrageous, easily disprovable lies just to get you to break your silence and look at them. Let them. Let them completely and utterly exhaust themselves. Their frantic escalation is the physical manifestation of their spiritual starvation. It is profoundly goofy to watch an adult throw themselves on the floor and kick their legs, screaming for a reaction from a stone wall. Your unbothered peace is the absolute ultimate form of spiritual warfare. By refusing to engage in their mud wrestling, you are not just fiercely protecting your own precious energy, you are actively, mathematically forcing them to consume their own venom. You are stepping completely off the chaotic battlefield, walking up the stairs to the VIP balcony and leaving them to swing their rusted swords wildly at the empty air. They will sweat, they will hyperventilate, and they will exhaust every single ounce of their low-frequency energy until they eventually, inevitably collapse under the crushing weight of their own unresolved dysfunction. Your absolute refusal to engage is the catalyst for their unmasking. When they cannot get a reaction from you privately, their mounting frustration will cause them to act erratically in public. They will lose their composure in front of the very people they are trying to impress, fully exposing the unhinged, obsessive nature of their vendetta. Your silence is the massive mirror that forces them to finally look at the monster they have become. Step 6. Allow divine karma to construct the public stage. You have actively stepped back. You have surgically severed the guilt. You have analytically observed their desperate mimicry without reaction, and you have ruthlessly starved their chaos with your impenetrable silence. Now, you must take your seat and witness the breathtaking, flawless precision of universal justice. You must completely step out of the way and allow divine karma to construct the public stage. Karma is not a petty, vindictive force. It is not some mythological, angry entity seeking revenge from the clouds just to satisfy your ego. Karma is the inevitable, mathematical, uncompromising result of spiritual physics. It is the absolute, unbreakable law that falsity cannot sustain itself indefinitely in the presence of truth. Because you have completely removed your clean, high-frequency energy from their toxic equation, their carefully constructed, taped-together facade is rapidly beginning to fracture under the immense, crushing pressure of its own internal contradictions. When toxic, manipulative people are left entirely to their own devices, unbuffered by the empathy and the grace of the chosen ones they previously exploited, their own vile nature becomes their immediate executioner. You do not have to lift a single finger, utter a single word, or plot a single scheme to expose them. They are going to do it themselves, and they are going to do it incredibly loudly. The public exposure of an imitator always follows a highly specific, predictable, and disastrous pattern. Driven by the absolute panic of losing control and actively starved of your emotional reactions, they will inevitably, foolishly overplay their hand. Their massive, unearned hubris will convince them that they are completely untouchable and that they can manipulate absolutely anyone. They will tell a lie so massive, so arrogant, and so easily disprovable, or they will behave with such blatant, unhinged, undeniable malice that even their most dedicated flying monkeys, their enablers, and their closest allies will be forced to step back in sheer horror. The contrast between your effortless elevation and their catastrophic unforced errors is staggering. It is the exact equivalent of a deeply arrogant thief confidently and loudly bragging about their stolen jewels while standing in a brilliantly lit, crowded room filled with mirrors, microphones, and security cameras, entirely oblivious to the fact that absolutely everyone is watching and recording. The universe is actively constructing a massive, brightly lit public stage for their unraveling. The very same people they aggressively manipulated and tried to turn against you will become the front-row, captive audience to their spectacular downfall. The carefully glued masks will slip, not in the privacy of their own home, but in the boardroom, in the family gathering, in the public forum, or completely unhinged on social media. It is incredibly goofy to witness someone meticulously dig a grave for you, line it with spikes, heavily camouflage it, and then accidentally trip and fall into it head first, while proudly pointing out how clever they are. Their glaring inconsistencies will become impossible for the crowd to ignore. The immense energy they spent furiously trying to dig a deep pit for you to fall into has simply excavated the exact dimensions of the grave for their own reputation. This exposure is not happening so that you can petty gloat, mock them, or dance on their ruins. It is happening because the universe absolutely requires cosmic equilibrium. It is happening to decisively, permanently clear your name and to physically demonstrate the undeniable vast difference between an authentic, divinely sanctioned calling and a fabricated, desperate persona. When you see this collapse occurring in real time, maintain your absolute dignity. Do not join the ignorant crowd in throwing stones at them. Simply nod at the undeniable, terrifying accuracy of divine timing, and understand on a cellular level that gravity always, eventually, brings down a house built entirely on lies. Step 7. Step unconditionally into your unapologetic promotion. As the dust finally begins to settle on the spectacular, highly public collapse of your enemies, you must deliberately direct your gaze forward. completely and permanently looking away from the smoking wreckage behind you. You must step unconditionally into your unapologetic promotion. The ultimate overarching purpose of this entire agonizing ordeal was never merely to expose the fraudulent nature of the pathetic people around you. The universe absolutely does not expend this massive amount of energetic effort simply to punish the wicked or to entertain you with their downfall. This entire process, the painful isolation, the bizarre attacks, the profound discomfort, the grueling requirement for silence, and the rigorous test of your detachment, was an aggressive, highly calculated excavation designed to clear the foundation for your massive, unprecedented promotion. The darkness was pressing hard, trying to break you, strictly because the heavy iron door of your destiny is now violently swinging open. You have been rigorously tested by the divine on your ability to hold your high frequency under immense pressure, to absolutely refuse the tempting bait of lower vibrations, and to deeply trust the invisible, sacred architecture of your calling over the loud, chaotic, terrifying illusions of your environment. You have passed the test with flying colors. Now, you are required by the universe to step into your new, breathtaking altitude without a single moment of hesitation and without a shred of apology. You must boldly occupy the vast, expansive space that has been violently cleared out for you. Often, chosen ones hesitate at the exact threshold of their own massive elevation. They feel a lingering, toxic survivor's guilt, a residual programmed fear of being seen in their full magnitude, constantly worrying that their brilliance will attract a new wave of attacks or make others feel painfully insecure. You must banish this small, pathetic mindset entirely and immediately. The psychological warfare you just survived was the exact immense pressure required to violently crush the black coal of your potential into the brilliant, unbreakable diamond of your actualized power. The contrast between your expansive future and their decaying past is absolute. You are no longer accessible to the dense, suffocating frequencies of jealousy, gossip, and mimicry. It is goofy to think you should continue crawling on the ground just to make the snakes feel comfortable. You are a majestic eagle effortlessly soaring to an altitude where slithering snakes simply cannot breathe. The air is much thinner here, but it is incredibly pure. Your ultimate vindication is not found in the destruction, the tears, or the apologies of your enemies. It is found in the undeniable, breathtaking, awe-inspiring reality of your own exponential growth. Your massive success, your unbreakable peace, and your radical, unapologetic alignment with the divine, that is the final, indisputable verdict. When you fully, wildly embrace this promotion, you will rapidly realize that the people who desperately tried to destroy you were nothing more than the harsh, abrasive grit used by the universe to polish your spirit to a blinding shine. You absolutely do not need to look back to see if they are watching your incredible ascent from the mud. It fundamentally does not matter if they are watching. You are no longer performing for the irrelevant audience of your past. You are operating on a magnificent frequency that they cannot even tune their radios to. Embrace the massive magnitude of what you have been given. The agonizing period of intense spiritual friction is officially over. The path is brightly illuminated and clear. The spiritual authority is permanently yours. Step boldly into the blazing light and unapologetically claim exactly what the universe has meticulously prepared for you since the beginning of time. To wrap this all up, you must pull back and look at the grand, sweeping narrative of your existence. The temporary pain, the shocking betrayal, the bizarre mimicry, and the heavy exhaustion, all of it was entirely secondary to the main event. The main event of your life has always been, and will always be, your alignment. The universe intentionally allowed these toxic individuals to enter your orbit to teach you the profound difference between true, quiet power and desperate loud force, between authentic life-giving light and the blinding harsh glare of a reflection. You have learned exactly who you are by witnessing exactly who they are not. You absolutely do not need revenge, because your continuous, unstoppable, beautiful evolution is the absolute only justice that matters. Their karmic consequence is that they have to live the rest of their pathetic lives trapped in the miserable prison of their own unhealed minds, forever frantically chasing a spark they can never, ever catch. Your reward is absolute liberation. Your reward is the profound, unshakable, bulletproof peace that comes from knowing exactly who you are, what you are entirely capable of, and exactly who stands fiercely beside you in the unseen realms. You are the architect of a massive destiny, and the ruins of their performative lives are entirely irrelevant to your masterpiece. If this message resonated with the deep, undeniable truths of your spirit, if it articulated the strange, chaotic dynamics you have been witnessing but couldn't quite name, I need you to hit the subscribe button right now. Like this video to help push this powerful frequency into the algorithm, drop a comment with the exact step that mirrored your current reality, and share this vital message with another chosen one who is currently walking through the fire and needs to know that the rain is coming. Your breakthrough is no longer pending. It is here. Stay chosen. Stay blessed.